away from my teal Mini Cooper, driving home from Montpelier, Vermont after watching the total eclipse. This is the Potterverse. It's a podcast dedicated to the book and film and soon-to-be television universe of Harry Potter. So grab your favorite wands and time turners. Let's step into the night or total eclipse and get ready to chase that flighty adventure. Let's do it. What? Flighty temptress. You know what I mean.
It's a flighty temptress.
She is.
It's that adventure. Just one flighty temptress.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Larson, and I'm being super careful because I'm actually driving right now.
My name is Blake, and yes, that's right. We are podcasting in the car.
No video.
No video today. We guess we could do video.
No,
We could.
We could, but
then I'd have to hold it for the whole time.
Yeah.
And that would suck.
It would suck.
So yes, it's going to sound a little bit different today, and it's gonna be different for you, the listener. I, in post, am going to try to clean this audio up as much as I can, but you will hear bumps like that. You can hear probably cars honking at us on the way, and we're going to be driving through Boston. Things happen in Boston.
No, we're not driving through Boston, honey. We're not.
Right now, we're going through 93. So
we are not. We are still in Vermont.
I know, but
and then we have to get to New Hampshire, and then we get to Boston. So if we're still talking about chapter 24,
yeah,
and we're in Boston,
we have problems.
Yes,
you, listen, I got problems. So listen, when we're in the middle of New England like this, we'll put it that way. Things happen. It's like a flood.
It's more like, it's rather than hearing cars honking and people cursing like Bostonians, we're more likely to see a moose right now. That's kind of where we're at. We just saw moose crossing signs, and hey buddy, what crossing sign did we just see? What was the most recent one? Bear crossing. Because that's what you have to worry about on the highway, a bear crossing.
So the kiddos are in the car with us because we all went to go see the eclipse. By the way, before we get into this episode, I just want to say that eclipse was unbelievable.
It was wicked far away from our house.
It was about 4.5 hours away from our house. And it took about 6 hours to get there.
Yeah.
But that eclipse, a total, 100% eclipse. I was telling Mary, it was like primordial. It was something that was like, it felt like we were cavemenning it. I don't know.
It felt like a magical spell from the Wizarding World was cast, and the birds stopped chirping. Different birds were sounding off as it got darker, the birds that you would typically hear at dusk. And then it was dark, and we could actually see stars. It was awesome. And then a minute and a half later, the birds that sing at dawn started to sing. So it was really, really cool. Definitely, in my opinion, worth driving all day and all night.
I know. It was well worth it. If you ever do get a chance to go see a full total eclipse, do yourself a favor and do so.
We're currently driving by Woodstock, Vermont.
Yes.
So,
okay. But not the Woodstock, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's Woodstock, New York.
Never mind. I'm far away. It looks like it could be Woodstock, New York.
Sure. Whatever. So that's the deal. We were at this thing, and it was unlike anything I've ever. I very rarely am I left without words, and this is one of those moments where you looked at it and it was like a movie. It was unbelievable. So that was that.
But we were going to record in our podcast studio today. Had been not driven to go see the total eclipse. And so while we're in the car for an unbelievable amount of time, Blake and I decided, let's mobile podcast. And normally when we mobile podcast, we actually have fancy microphones and we still get to have sound effects easily added. But you instead are getting a little rough and ready, but just pretend you're in our Mini Cooper. Pretend you got to come on this journey with us as we talk about Chapter 24, Occlumency.
All right, you ready to get into the show?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
All right, Marvin, the mini chapter recap, do you want to give it from your memory, or shall I?
Sure, I could do it. This chapter starts off, we fight Creature. He's been somewhat hiding in the attic, and Sirius and Snape get into a bit of a row. I like how my car just asked me if I want to take a break. Why? Yeah, I would love to, but I can't take a break, car. I'm trying to drive home.
We got about 200 more miles.
Yeah, weirdo.
That was the listeners being like, okay, Mary, take a break.
Oh my gosh, my Mini is like, I am a Mini convertible. I don't drive this far. I'm supposed to be a pleasure ride. Why are you driving me all day? Anyway.
By the way, that's what she said.
Okay. Anyway, so Snape and Sirius, they get into a row, man. And all the Weasleys come back, and Harry has to break it up. Everybody takes the night bus. It's crazy. They get back to school, and Harry has to start occlumency lessons, but not after Cho Chang essentially asks him out for Valentine's Day. And then Harry has occlumency. It sucks. He goes to bed, and he has the craziest dream. Well, not even a dream. He's just laughing super happily and maniacally. So it's a crazy chapter, friends. I was about to say that it's an all the feels chapter for Harry, but really it's crappy feels with a sprinkling of Cho Chang as
Yeah. No, I would actually say there is all the feels in this chapter. Actually,
Go for it.
All of the feels are angry, sad, depressed, happy, scared, protective. There's a lot going on in this chapter. And, just by the way, also, listeners, this podcast is probably going to be a little shorter than normal, just because, we're in the car. It is nice. But Mary, let's do this. Let's start, I think.
You're the one who actually has the document open. I'm just driving safely.
Yeah, that's true. Here's what I think, Mary. I think we should start
at the very beginning.
No, at the end.
It's a very good place to start. Because when you read, you begin with ABC. When you sing, you begin with
Do Re Mi.
Here you go.
It's the worst.
Stop it. Oh my gosh, we are not in a good place.
Mary
Stop.
made the kids and I watched that.
No, you didn't watch it. I watched
I watched some of it.
You watched some of it.
I watched some of it.
Okay, anyway.
This is the good part of the movie.
Stop.
This is the good part.
The whole thing is
still
good.
awful. It was still awful.
I love that movie. Stop.
The best part of that was the credits.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyway, I want to start at the end because
the maniacal laughter waking up. Voldemort was the happiest he's been in 14 years.
Well, yeah. All right. Let's put in adjacent, right?
Okay.
Snape and Harry.
Okay, the occlumency lesson
themselves.
All right.
I have some questions about the lessons, and I have a theory, and that is this: is it right and is it fair of Dumbledore to put Harry in a position to be in this room with Snape alone, taking these very intense lessons? Is that the smartest choice?
Smart by who? I guess is what I'm going to ask you. Because
I was
is it smart by Dumbledore or smart from McGonagall's perspective, who still is in the Order of the Phoenix, who's an educator, or are we looking at it from Dumbledore's perspective?
I guess I'm just looking at it now as an educator and as an adult, as trying to look at and put a student, in particular Harry, in the best place to succeed. Is it fair of them to put them in the same room as him in the same room as Snape, who very clearly hates Harry? Oh, by the way, Harry hated the Saint and all this. He hates Snape. There's a visceral hate between these two, and they're doing magic that, as they said, is a very personal, intense kind of magic.
Yeah.
Was this the right choice?
I will combat that by saying this wasn't an educational choice whatsoever. Even though they're calling it occlumency classes, to me this is actually war training. So nobody takes this as a class. They're calling it occlumency lessons, but nobody in Hogwarts takes occlumency as a class. No, this is, off the record. This was being,
off the books.
Yeah, this is a self-defense class. You don't take self-defense classes in school.
Yeah, but
you don't.
But Snape is very much so treating it like a class. You need to show up at this time.
I would take it as
You
Snape,
still have to call me professor.
like an evil drill master. I take him like he's in the military and I'm barking orders at you and I'm going to break you, because that is what Voldemort is going to do. And Snape, who we know is double agent, he also needs to know what Harry's weaknesses are, because he needs to know if he's the only one on the inside with Voldemort. I think it's brilliant that Snape talks about how Voldemort, he must not be named the Dark Lord, however you want to refer to him, is fantastic at legitimates. And you have to be such a great occlumens to hide things from him. And Snape is the top one. Snape's hiding everything from him.
Yes.
So what's difficult is Snape can't tell Harry, listen, man, I'm doing that. You and I are the only people right now who can do this, who I can hide things from Voldemort. I need to teach you how to hide things from Voldemort because I do it on a daily basis. It stinks that he can't say that. Because if he did say that, then it is fodder for Voldemort. So, like I said, I don't... Would McGonagall be okay with this? Not at all. But Harry also, has the private lessons with Umbridge. I must not tell lies. So this is Hogwarts, and they don't really go by the should students' safety with teachers who hate them be called into play. But I view this as Dumbledore, being the captain of the Order of the Phoenix and having to make these choices to really best solidify his army. I don't like it. I don't think it's great. I think if McGonagall heard about it, she would not be happy with it and maybe want to be there. But
yeah, well, that's what I was just thinking. Like, it might be that McGonagall should be there if they're looking out for the best interests of Harry's. But my theory, I got a theory about this.
Go for it.
It's yes, would it probably be in Harry's best interests to have McGonagall there? Definitely. But that's the point, right? Harry is at his most vulnerable, right, in quotes, with Voldemort when he is his most vulnerable, right? Like, quite literally. And they even make note of that in the chapter. It's, when your guard is down, when you're sleeping, when you are at your most vulnerable as a person, this connection is coming through. Great. My theory is they are purposely putting Harry in this small potions room, alone with Snape, so that he is very vulnerable. And he has to know or has to feel a certain way in order to be able to effectively protect himself against
in a genuine situation.
Yes. So it's like, we're going to throw you into the fight.
But that's like military training. You know what I mean? That's
sure.
what they do. That's back. Maybe it's because I come from a military family that I know he absolutely debilitating emotionally and physically exercises that they put people through. They really break you down. They put you out in elements. They scream terrible things. They try to break you down so that way you're at least exposed to somewhat of a comparable experience that you could get out in the field.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. The other thing that just breaks me and makes me upset with Snape, because of course, we as a podcast, we drop spoilers all the time. We know that Snape is a double agent, but here in book 5, we don't know that. So I kind of like that it fuels the reader's fire against Snape.
Yeah.
We continue to loathe him, But on the flip side, knowing what we know, to me, Snape getting to see all these memories of Harry's, see that Harry had an absolutely terrible childhood, see that he was chased by the aunt's dog with the family cheering, and jeering at him, seeing Snape being able to see through Harry's eyes, Cedric Diggory, a student of Snape's, mind you, for multiple years, die. Yeah. He gets to see the 100 Dementors coming towards him. It's hard for me as a reader, because we know that Snape had to work to protect Harry, and I wish we could know inside Snape's mind at this moment if he had even an ounce of sympathy for this boy after seeing how terrible of a life he really had growing up. And then even since he came to this magical school, let's be real, hasn't been a cupcake.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that he's had a terrible... I mean, yes, he has had a terrible life with the Dursleys.
I wouldn't want to trade places with Harry Potter.
No. I guess what Snape is seeing isn't necessarily what's terrible. Again, I have to go back with the idea that it's Harry at his most vulnerable.
I'm just saying that Snape getting to see these things, he's always thought of Harry as this pompous, spoiled, oh, you're the chosen one, you're the famous one. But he's never really gotten to know Harry the way we have.
Sure.
So I just wonder if him seeing these flashes humanizes Harry a little bit to him. If I don't get to see it, because once again, we as readers, we have to really continue to hate Snape. But I just think about it now, reading it through, did he sit down and be like, wow. I mean, I make fun of that kid for being a pompous jerk all the time, but whoa. So for him to be like, wow, whose dog was that chased you? Oh my gosh,
So I guess you'd have to, listen, Snape is human, right? He's not otherworldly, he's not an alien. So there is some humanity in him.
It's some worried he was a vampire, but continue.
But I think if you're going to look at it from that perspective, you also kind of have to consider the opposite, which is Snape is so far...
Yes.
Not gone. What, not gone, but just so angry at everything. So consumed by his grief. I mean, what we eventually come to understand is grief. And self-loathing, really.
And also loathing of James.
Yeah, I'm like, all of it combined, you kind of look at it like, well, I don't care. You're still this kid. And
yeah,
I'm sorry, you got chased by a dog. Sucks to suck. Like, get over. I think there might be some...
I was chased by a werewolf 2 years ago. Bring it.
I know. So, I think there's something fair there. And just this whole scenario of the Occlumency fascinates me. Because what I really like about it is that there is this kind of debate about, is it right, is it fair for Snape to see these memories of Harry's rather, without any context, without any pretext, right? Like, it's just, I'm going to invade your mind.
Yeah.
By the way, but when I do it, I'm not going to give you any prep. I'm not going to give you any ideas. I'm not going to give you any kind of teaching. I'm just going to do it. And you're going to have to put up with it. Is that fair?
Once again, I don't see it as a class. I see it as a drill sergeant. Yeah. And to that, I say it makes sense. It stinks. It's a 15-year-old boy, and this is his professor. But... we're talking about going to war with the world's worst wizard. And to me, of anybody, Snape will see this information. He will see Harry's weaknesses. And he, out of everybody, will know how Voldemort could use that. He is able to understand what Harry cares about, what his weaknesses are. And maybe, in my dream world, he puts those memories into the pensieve, and then Dumbledore gets to review them. Just like if you were taking notes. Okay, sure. Here's what his weaknesses are. Here's what he was sad about growing up.
Make it a game plan.
Exactly. But he knows Voldemort better than anybody. And so I think for him to have this kind of preparation, once again, military strategic speaking, makes sense. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's kind. I don't think it's a class. And I'm sad that Harry doesn't even get to know fully, because he doesn't know that Snape, is really helping him out. He just thinks Snape's a jerk. And when he asks Snape, why is Dumbledore having you do this? Snape doesn't say, because I'm the best. Or no, Sirius asks him. It's not because I'm the best and I know what's going on in Voldemort's mind because we have tea every day. No, it stinks. It stinks that Snape can't tell Harry the truth.
Yeah. And he can't tell Harry the truth, obviously, because we think about the connection that he shares with Voldemort, right?
Yeah, he'd give it all away.
He'd give it all away, right? And that works on multiple levels, right? Both in the plot and as a narrative device, right? Because if you give that away and Voldemort somehow finds that information, now you've given up what you can ostensibly call a twist at the end of the series, right? So and so the author is, I don't want to say she's rooting herself into a corner. I think she's just found herself a way to protect her twist without having to give it away. Yet at the same time, Mary, she does kind of give away her twist of Harry being a Horcrux. Because right away, she tells you, no, you and Voldemort? No, I think this happened when that curse hit you. And there's a connection there, something otherworldly, something that is beyond us exists between you two. We don't know what it is yet, but it's there.
And I'm going to take it even a step further. You said the author tells us this. Snape tells Harry this. Snape is the character that does all of this. That finally, and Harry gets so excited to finally start learning any little breadcrumbs of truth, making sense out of any of this, that he's speaking quickly. He forgets to call him sir, or maybe he extra calls him sir because he wants to hurry up and know. But Harry feels like finally he's getting to the bottom of this, and Snape's a jerk about it at times. Oh, come on, you haven't even put this 2 and 2 together. No, he hasn't. Nobody else has told him this.
Yeah.
And how incredible is it that Snape is the one that teaches him Expelliarmus. Snape is the one that's teaching him how to help protect his mind. Snape is the one that's pretty much saying, buddy, when you got cursed.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And what's even better, Mary, is Harry is in a place where he kind of has to put aside his visceral hatred of Snape in order to get more information.
Yes.
Right? And that shows you, I think, without telling you, his state of mind. That it's like, okay, even this person that I just cannot stand, if he's giving me something, I kind of have to trust him.
Yes.
And I kind of have to go along with it, because the one person that he does want to trust in Sirius doesn't know any more than he does. Mm-hmm. Yes, he gets emotional support from Sirius, and he does get that, potential connection of like, oh, hey, use this thing. As of this moment, we don't know what that is. Use this thing to connect with me if Snape gives you a hard time. But even Harry himself says, I'm never going to use it. I will never, ever use that because I don't want to put Sirius in danger.
Yep.
Another thing happens too, Mary, with Snape and Harry, and I want to get your take on it. That is Snape takes memories out of his brain and puts it away and stores it away.
Yeah.
What is that? Even if you do know what it is, then go ahead and spoil it, because who cares?
Because you forgot already? You haven't read this book, you haven't reread it in a while, and it's different than the movie. So, in the movie, Harry protects himself during Occlumency lessons, and that's how he breaks into Snape's worst memories. As you're going to find out, I think it's in the next chapter, too. He's removing his worst memories.
Oh.
And Harry's going to go into the pensieve and actually see what Snape was taking off the table.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right.
But it's different than in the movie, so... And you watched the movie a lot
yeah, I know.
since you've read this book.
A billion times. So now that you've brought up the movie, but I see why in the film they kind of condense these like 3 chapters that we've gone over for the past 3 episodes. I get it. And as much as I would want to see Lockhart again in the film, and as much as I would want to see St. Mungo's, and I would want to see Neville's mother with the gum wrapper.
Oh, yes.
Like, yes. So if we had all the time in the world, absolutely, I'm in. Big however. Huge however. I think this one chapter, yes, it was included in the film, but if you let this experience breathe a little bit more, other than, oh yeah, there's Ron's dad. Oh no.
Yeah, Ron's dad comes back.
Yeah, he gets there, and then they take him from Dumbledore's office. They put him immediately into the Occlumency lessons, and then they do the thing, and then they pan off and they show the school, and they move on to the next scene.
Yeah. Daddy's back.
Yeah. My sense is, if you showed the interaction between Sirius and Snape, and that back and forth, the coward thing, and Sirius kind of getting really upset, and Snape going back at him saying well, you're not really useful, you should sit in your house for 6 months. I understand why you're like this. Like, that going back and forth and having Harry be in the middle of that, I think you miss out a little bit on the dynamics that Harry, Snape, and Sirius share all with each other.
Yeah, I feel like the actors conveyed the distaste that they have for one another pretty well in the films. I never felt that there was much love between them, but I agree with you that here having it in the books a bit more really does let it breathe, lets it sink in, knowing that these 2 grown men were about to duel, essentially,
well, that's what I'm saying.
in the Weasley's kitchen, and a 15-year-old boy is physically standing in between them to break them up. Get a hold of yourselves.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And in the film, they portray Sirius as this, truly benevolent, loving person that just wants the best for Harry. And I get it, and I love that version of Sirius. Gary Oldman, and I know we've said this before in the podcast. When we've asked our godparents for our children, to be godparents, we were we want you to be the Sirius Black to our kid. That was those were words that came out of our mouths.
Yes.
And it's very true. But there's just this little bit of characterization, I feel like, and Barry, you mentioned it, it's these 2 grown men who are ready to duel each other in this kitchen over this thing. It paints Sirius in just a little bit more light than I think.
I'm saying dark, but yes.
No, what I mean, it gives us a little bit more texture than just Sirius good, Snape bad.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And
of course, it's Sirius who then says, we're not just all...
Yeah, we're not all Death Eaters.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think thematically it would have worked, especially in light of what you just said, Mary, we're not all death. The world's not made of Death Eaters and good people.
Yeah.
We all have light and dark, and I would have loved to have seen that little bit of darkness from Sirius in the film. That little bit of anger, that little bit of... And I know we got it in movie, in Prisoner of Azkaban, the movie, but just to have that in Order of the Phoenix just a little bit, I think that would have given us more of the kind of flavor that Sirius, that Sirius is in the book. And again, I'm not saying I want book Sirius to be the movie Sirius and vice versa, but just to hammer home that theme of we're not all Death Eaters.
Yeah.
Do you think the movie does this better, or do you think the book does this better? Like this whole scenario.
I like the book right now
Yeah.
for this bit. So we get to have that. We begin, before even that kitchen duel begins, we get the mention of Creature. And I love dropping this in here, how Creature was up in the attic and how he was probably scurrying around the house, collecting more treasures, Black family treasures. And it pains me so much for Creature because I don't know when they were cleaning if they moved the locket and if he's been looking all this time for it, or if maybe he thinks, there could be other things that he needs to have. But that's one of the things I wonder is when they cleaned, did they move his locket that he's trying to protect and keep safe? And also, does that explain so much about why he's wretched? He's hanging out with the Horcrux. We saw what that same locket does to Harry and to Ron, and Creature's had it all this time.
And I guess because elves or house elves are so, their magic, I think, is so much more nuanced than wizard magic.
Yeah.
I think there's a case to be made that the locket, either one, has a greater effect on house elves because of their magic being so much more nuanced, or two, it has no effect. I don't think that there's a middle ground.
Gotcha.
I think the middle ground is wizards, with the way that works.
Interesting.
And going on what you're positing, Mary, I think that there is something there where it's like, yeah, maybe he is so wretched because he's just that much more attuned to the evil of the world.
Yeah. And it says, that he's staring at Harry. Harry realizes he's looking at him. It just makes me think, he knows that Harry has somewhat defeated the Dark Lord in the past. And here he is actively in the Order of the Phoenix, trying to do it again, and having this connection with him. Does Creature, with this nuance of magic, sense Horcrux in Harry because he's now spent so much time with the other Horcrux?
That's that tank. That's a great.
In the movie we get that kind of whistling sound.
Yeah.
Can Creature somehow sense it? Can he sense the Horcrux?
That's a great take, Mary.
Oh, and is that why he's staring at him? And part of him staring at him thinking maybe he can help me destroy it because he must be done with Voldemort as much as I do.
Sure. Yeah.
But I like the idea that he can also kind of I feel the evil. I feel him just like how I feel him in this locket.
And there's also this great notion, too, that Harry brings out, and he points out that Creature can, in fact, leave the house if he really, really, truly wants. The way that Dobby did. Dobby had to punish himself, but he did. He had left the house.
Yeah.
And, again, we keep building up this foreshadowing. And this is more of a tease now, I think. But in previous chapters, it was foreshadowing. We keep building up this notion of, like, Creature is missing or Creature is doing things. And now we're open to the possibility that Creature to be more than just a house elf scurry crowd. The house, he could be out doing his own stuff.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting how the author is building this up for the reader and what that eventually leads to.
Part of the wee magic world building that we do get in this chapter, amidst all of this big stuff, is we get to go back on the night bus, and Lupin and Tonks bring the students there. This is Ron's first time, and he's so excited. By the end of it, he has greatly regretted his choice, and he will gladly never take the night bus again. So we get to see what the night bus is like during the daytime, and then the other bit, of course, is Cho Chang asking Harry out, and Harry is just so fed up with people speaking to him about when the DA is going to get together that he completely misreads Cho.
Yeah. he thought, I was like, oh, yeah, our next meeting. Oh, no. You are an unaware teenage boy.
Yeah, you just kissed her 2 weeks ago, buddy.
Yeah.
No. She's trying to ask you over Valentine's Day, and you think she's just going to bug you just like everybody else has.
I love that Harry just has no, just no awareness. Absolute, as the kids would say, no riz.
Oh, yeah.
He's got no riz.
Nice.
In this interaction with Joe. And eventually it's like, oh yeah. You want to go to
Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade with me? Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure, great, yeah, awesome. And then he just kind of like awkwardly leaves.
Yeah.
And
then we get our Weasleys with the disappearing hat thing, which Hermione is quite impressed with. So we've had this turnaround with the extendable ears, and now this hat that can create, make you look headless, essentially. So she's starting to come around and realizing that Freddie George stuff is quite impressive.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Weasleys, when you mentioned the night bus and Ron, if there was ever a scene that totally encapsulates what it's like to be Barry Larson, it is Ron on the night bus.
What do you mean?
I can't wait to go on this night bus. It's going to be the best thing. I've wanted to do this my whole life.
Listen,
person does it and they say, no, that was not a good idea.
Sometimes things are great. Okay, let's be real. I just convinced my family to fit into a Mini Cooper convertible. We're in a tin can, okay?
Worked out.
And to drive for an entire day, this could have gone super poorly. I mean, we were pushing it. We almost missed the eclipse. So
this could have gone like a Mini Cooper rally.
Yeah. So this could have been Night Bus Bar Fest.
Yes.
Pretty quickly. But I'm proud of Ron because, he's going to lose his enthusiasm for the night bus, but he'll move on to something else. He's willing to try. He's willing to be optimistic. Well done, Ron. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. I want to go back to Sirius here a little bit. Because do you think, Mary, that Sirius is...
Serious?
justified in his actions with Snape?
No.
Why?
Oh, he's immature. He's emotionally stunted after being imprisoned at Azkaban. No, you do not straight up start dueling in someone else's house in front of a 15-year-old.
Well, let's take it a small step back here. Sirius, as a guardian, is looking at this saying, Whoa, time out.
Yeah, he's not being respectful. No, I think he's a completely disrespectful, calling him lapdog. No, I think he's out of line.
Because I was thinking about this as the conversation was happening. And okay, is he justified? And did Snape start the whole thing? And as I was listening to it, I'm not kind of going, I don't think that Snape is right. Yeah, he knows Sirius, and I think he does it intentionally. But Sirius is the one that kind of blows up a little bit.
Agreed.
And then Snape's like, "Oh, you're gonna blow up? All right, fine. I'll just stick it to you a little bit more."
Yeah, it's Sirius's fault in this one. He started it. He draws his wand first. It is like who shot first, Han. Sirius is Han. He takes out his wand.
That's true.
What are you doing, Sirius? He completely shifts the dynamic. No, I'm all set with him.
So
he's not. Yeah, he's not part of my top 5. He's not even part of my top 10.
Oh, you don't blaspheme.
No, I'm just saying. No, he's
serious.
He's interesting. Wouldn't be my friend at all.
It's like blasphemy, blaspheming against the great name of one, fans of Parkinson. We don't do that in House Larson.
We don't talk about Bruno, and we do not.
We don't talk about Pansy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, because when you think about the whole conversation, right, started as a result of no, we're not doing this alone. He needs to have some supervision here.
Yes.
And as a guardian, again, I get it.
Well, it's not the Weasley's kitchen. They're in Grimmauld Place. It's his own place.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
But yeah, I just wanted to retract because here you have to think he's at the Weasley's place. No, it's his house, but still you're being inappropriate.
But I think he's right in that I want to be there to protect my godson.
Hey, keep your eyes out for moose, by the way. Moose crossing, and it's dusk. If I see a moose while I'm live podcasting for my first time in my life to see a moose, I'm going to lose it.
Solar eclipse day.
Well, I'm driving a Mini Cooper that will smash in a second.
Yeah, I think it's fair. But, Snape does this thing talking about the worthlessness, right, of being Sirius Black and what that looks like. And that, to me, is probably, out of all the things you could say to a Gryffindor, it's probably one of the worst. It's like, you're worthless. You are not even brave. You're nothing. You're just worthless.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're both kind of in the wrong. But I think as someone who's trying to teach Harry, again, going back to the beginning of our conversation, Mary, with someone trying to teach Harry, you kind of just have to put him in the position where he is most comfortable, so that you can recreate the kind of environment that he needs to have in order to survive.
Yeah, there's no stability. Excuse us while Hagrid's motorbike rides by.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and it's like, just as a parent, it goes against everything that I can think of that's appropriate for a child to teach them these lessons. But, the world isn't in this kind of environment, right? The world isn't going to be like, okay, all's fair. I mean, there are rules and no, all is fair. It is what it is. And either you put up or you shut up. And I think just as educators, they know.
He's not an educator. Sirius is not an
No,
educator.
I meant Snape with Dumbledore.
Oh, okay.
As educators and as people who are very well invested in what it takes to fight against Voldemort, they know that they have to put Harry in a situation that is a little uncomfortable.
Agreed.
In order for it to work properly.
Agreed.
Anything else you want to talk about in this chapter, my love?
Oh, that's it.
I think so. I think we're in good shape here. I'm going over my notes. I think we've covered everything. So that's that. Do you want to do a different perspective?
Not ideally while I'm driving.
All right, fair.
Do you?
No. And then you know what I'll also do?
You want to do the listener stuff next episode when we're driving? Okay.
Yeah, we'll do listener stuff when we're not driving. And that's that.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to this totally eventful episode of the Hagrid's motorbike zipping by, loose crossings, and total eclipses. And
Mars is not great. That's all right.
Yeah, no. And Eddie Coopers and the whole gamut.
Yes.
That's what Mary and Blake today. So thank you so much for listening to us today, and oh, by the way, putting up with this audio. I'm sure you all know by now that I take a lot of pride in how our audio sounds, and hopefully I'll make it sound a little bit better, at least listenable in post-production, and that is that. Of course, also, we want to thank our partners in crime when it comes to this podcast, D&D Adventure Club. You've heard all about them in the previous episodes, but basically it comes down to they are an amazing company. He makes playing Dungeons and Dragons with your children or amongst your friends. So if you're beginners, it makes it a lot easier. And if you're listening to a Harry Potter podcast, more than likely you're into D&D.
Or you've thought about it because you're ready for some magical adventures yourself,
right? So go check them out, D&D Adventure Club, and if you make a purchase at D&D Adventure Club, you can use the checkout code Mary20. Again, Mary20 20. at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your purchase. So that is that. All right, that's it. Everybody, thank you so much. And we will see you next time.
I'm Mary.
My name is Blake.
Mischief managed.
Right.